We were very fortunate. I got to relate one little more thing on how much time we have left, but I got to relate one more thing. We collected some money for a Memorial Day, like I was saying, with Whole Foods, and we were fortunate. We reached out to a lady that's in charge of the family for the United States Army. I won't say who it was. Reached out to her to give some of this money. We said, we want to give the money to a fallen soldier's wife or spouse. She says, Neil, I got just the right person. Lady lost her husband. Both of them were in the service, and she lost her husband 3 years ago, and she fell on hard times, and she had to move back to South Florida to move in with her family because she couldn't afford to live where she was living with the meager income that they give them for losing a spouse. I mean, it's a nice one time, but they don't give them over an extended period of time like we think that they should. So that was another thing that people don't realize. These people that have lost and are injured, you know, here's an example. One guy gets $1,800 a month. He lost an arm, and he gets a meager stipend of $1,800 a month.
That's one of the things that it surprised me when I first went into service was how little you get, your pay. Mm-hmm. It's not minimum
how much
wage.
You give.
No.
Versus
you get something minuscule. And when I first went into the service, I was married and I had a little baby.
Yeah.
And I went into the service, and when I got to the base, you get all in and everything. And the first thing they do is they sign you up for welfare and food stamps. And I was like, holy, you're kidding me! I'm going off to risk my life, and this is my pay. You don't realize it.
Well, actually, and in actuality, they're right. But to give them some of a little bit of credit, the Army and the military, they are trying to do a lot better. They're trying to find a higher degree in an education process. They're trying to scrutinize some of these guys, and then they are paying a little bit better. But the ones that have been in for quite a while, they don't qualify for that upscale or upgrade in pay. You know. And that's what the sad thing is. Look, I'm going to tell you something. We're an apolitical organization. You and I had this conversation
Right, we did,
before,
yes.
But we need to bring them all home. That's my feeling, and I'll say it. It says it's time for them all to come home. These guys that have been out there for 2, 3 years, 4 and 5 deployments, it's just not fair. It's just legitimately not fair. Once or twice, that's one thing, because we can't do without them. I mean, we have to fight the war, but we're fighting. The president said the other day, we're fighting a war. Well, I don't see him out fighting a war when he's on the golf course.
Yeah.
That's just my mentality. We're fighting a war in the Gulf. So,
and we went through that when Clinton was elected president, and we're all sitting around going, all right, he's never served.
No.
Right.
Now he's going to tell us what to do. That that really challenges you as a service guy when someone's telling you to go do it and they haven't done it themselves.
Enough is enough.
Right.
Come on, we're going on what the 7th year now, 6th or 7th year. It's just ridiculous. Well, no, actually, it's almost up to 8, I think. 6 or 7 for sure. Well, let's bring them home. Let's bring
September
them all
11th,
home.
2001, and we went in there a couple months after that. So we're
little,
going on 9. But anyway, I know we didn't want to look. I could
That's
we'll
right.
get started because
I know. Tell me
I don't
about
want to do anything that's going to
that's right.
hurt our efforts
well,
here
I just
tonight.
have to say my piece
so
because I want them to have people want to know. Do I want them to come home? Yes, I want them to come home.
Right, and I think another point to add to that is that this is where private citizens could step up to the plate and sort of do what they can to help out in terms of what we were just discussing about whether it's donating money, time.
Sure.
It's great to acknowledge them. I agree with that 100%. I think some people might be shocked. I was wondering when we were talking about that too. I think maybe some people may be a little bit nervous to approach someone in uniform, or they feel awkward. So I'm glad we cleared that up. That's something that they want.
Yeah, no, they love it, man. I'm telling you, that makes their day. Just
they're not like the movie stars. Who want to sit there and
well, you know what?
Not sign autographs.
These guys, these men and women, these are the real superstars in my book. And I think, unfortunately, we've got our priorities twisted in this country where we're worshiping celebrities. I mean, we need to. These are the people that we need to be honoring and supporting and thanking.
They're the ones that sacrifice their lives and limbs, is what we tell people. That's
exactly.
They're the ones that are doing the work and they're sacrificing. But it also, too, what a lot of people I think don't realize is that they're not only paying a personal sacrifice, but the problem now is becoming that their wives and their children are really the ones that are suffering. They can take the physical abuse. Can they take the mental abuse? Well, John will tell you that's a hard thing to come back to. But it's also the time that they've left their families and
Right.
the divorce rate, the suicide
Yeah, and they
rates.
can't get that time back
That's
no
right.
matter what.
And these
Yeah.
kids come back and they get such an integral part of their beginning of their life, and I don't think a lot of people are paying enough attention to that.
No.
Is that
And-
and the people in the upper echelons with these guys that
Right.
have their families and they're leaving them away from their families, and some of these kids are going to suffer the rest of their life or
Yeah.
are
One of-
suffering
And they
now.
willingly volunteer
Well, they're
to do it
suffering
on our
now.
behalf, so.
They're
One of the
suffering now.
saddest things
Yeah.
you're ever going to see is when a ship comes back from deployment,
Mhm.
and everyone's at the gates, and all your family's there and everything, and the sailors come down, they've got their sea bags over their shoulder
right.
going home, and that lasts about maybe an hour and a half, and then it thins out. And at that 2-hour mark, you see the 3, 4, 5 guys still standing there.
Yeah.
That just breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got
Yeah.
nobody to come back to or
They
nobody
got no-
waiting for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
that's
come
true.
back to something that's empty and gone.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
and I mean, and they do this willingly for us and for our freedom. So that's where I think
That's
that
right.
private citizens need to
It's-
kind of step up and, and maybe if it means, I'm not going to go to a movie. I'm gonna donate this money here.
Exactly.
I think we should start thinking
I mean,
about
we've
that.
got these
and,
baskets for $20. I'm telling you, you would think you would give them something that's like, it's just the
Gold,
thought,
yeah, yeah.
and also too, it's what's the greatest thrill in the world for a person? Is to open up a present. Doesn't matter too much what's inside. It can be, and that's why we're so excited about the vision of our organization is that when we get to the point where we launch our internet-based thing, like groups like Hallmarks and Hershey's and Kraft Foods and other organizations, Bed Bath and Beyond, they'll be able to donate goods.
Oh, that's great.
The guy from Hallmark, when I told him
Yeah.
about the program, he says, "You mean I can give you my 5-year-old cards?" I says,
Oh,
"What?"
wonderful.
And he says, "Yeah, I'll take them." I said, "Doesn't matter to me."
Yeah.
He says,
Right.
"You mean I'm going to make space in my warehouse?" And that's our
Excellent.
vision for the ultimate goal for our
And
organization.
I tell you, the most popular guy on the ship is the one that gets the care package.
That's right,
That-
exactly,
yes.
exactly.
He's got some spare cookies in there.
Yeah.
you're
Do you know,
talking.
And they all can't wait to watch him open it up.
That's right. We're all there to help. All
Well,
there
I
to
want
help.
to tell another story. Speaking of that, I gave through, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I forget, there was an internet, they call it a webathon in support of our troops. And I think it was through Soldiers Angels, which is another great
In
organization.
Texas, I know about them.
And I had donated, I guess I had donated some money, I think, for them to send off, for care packages. And about 6 months later, I got a thank you letter in the mail from a British soldier saying, I just wanted to write, he's like, I hope you don't think this is too forward, but I wanted to write to you because I guess they had everybody's address included, the people that had made the donations to make that gift possible. And he basically said that, as a British soldier, he was blown away by the support that the American soldiers get from the American citizens, and he also complimented the American soldiers for being willing to share. It's almost like I guess they realize what's going on, and so he said, I hope you. It was almost apologizing in this letter. I hope you don't mind, but my American counterpart shared the contents of this package with me.
Wow.
Different, and I was so moved by that. And I did write back to him, and I told him, no, I'm really happy. I'm proud of that soldier for sharing that with you, and I'm glad that it helped to make your life a little easier.
Look, whatever it takes.
Exactly.
That's the neat thing.
Yeah.
Good for you for doing that because a lot of people wouldn't have written back. They would have never known for sure.
Yeah.
So, that's the nice thing of it. It's
Yeah.
got to go both ways. We have a program, and I know we've talked a lot, but we have a neat program that we call Franks and Friends that was developed about 2 years ago when we gave away 500 francs on the avenue in Delray Beach. And the only way you got to get a New York franc was to sign a book to become a friend of an injured soldier.